Greetings, this is Ty Brown, and welcome to the Pepper Dynamics Podcast, the informal podcast of the Grazia Deal Business School community. Joined by Kia June, our co-host. Kia.
How you doing, Ty?
Glad you're here today. Today, we talked to a couple first years, right? And I'm excited to talk to them. A lot of energy in who we're going to talk to here today, so I'm excited to talk to them. We have Dela Atsu-Swanzy. Dela went to the Naval Academy and spent 12 years as an active naval officer, and now he's looking to pivot, change up his career, and do some great things. Greetings, Dela. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Ty.
We also have Julie Awopetu. Julie is a Penn State undergrad, worked in HR and entertainment for over 10 years, and she is in the 15-month program. Julie, I am really happy that you're joining us. Me and Kia are looking forward to this conversation. Thanks for joining us, Julie.
Thank you for having us, and thank you for the podcast. It's needed.
Excellent. Kia, if you take over, I'm going to step out real quick, and then you can handle the conversation. I'll join us when we get to the second.
I was going to say, if you don't mind, I got a couple questions I want to ask them.
Do your thing.
All right, let's do it. Julie, Del, it's great to have you here. Julie, I spoke with you before. We got connected on LinkedIn. I saw you were in entertainment, got on a quick phone call with you, and you even got me a connection. And I feel like that's what MBA school is all about. So, I mean, tell me right off the bat, your first experience with the MBA, what was that like?
So first off, Kia, you were awesome. And the whole thing is about networking. So we hope that anybody listening realizes that if you're someone who's really about books, studying, Pepperdine, grow that network, definitely try to interact with as many people. My first experience MBA at Pepperdine, literally awesome because it was orientation. And everyone was excited. And although it was on Zoom in the beginning, just seeing everybody's face, we were ready to go. And so it was excellent.
That's good to hear. Was it like that for you too, Del? And are you in her cohort?
Yes. First of all, I want to thank you and Ty for letting us be here. Happy to share our experiences so far. Everything that Julie said, I completely resonate with her. The whole focus of going to any MBA program, but especially Pepperdine, is the networking aspect. So, so far, it's about 4 weeks in. We've definitely hit those wickets.
Good. And unlike you guys, we started online. So we got a Zoom orientation, and they had to get real creative on how to get us to like connect with each other, Zoom breakout rooms and all that. But even though, it's not, let's say, fully open and fully up to normal speed, does it feel more like, oh yeah, this is a regular orientation and you got to know your cohort pretty well?
Yes. I think it's a lot of growing pains, but good growing pains. So most of it is time management. And we have a lot on our plate. Prior to coming to Pepperdine, a lot of my friends who have already received their MBAs told me their experience at an MBA program is like a buffet. So as you go through the line, pile up your plate with what you want and what you don't need. And if your plate gets too heavy, feel free to, take some off.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I've always been a person who wants to wear as many hats as he can because I can't focus on just one thing, So I piled it up first year and I've been able to maintain it so far. And I even want to add more. So the more stuff you can get involved with, especially extracurricularly, I feel like one thing they don't tell you is that, yes, you're at a small school, but they don't always hold your hand. You got to put that initiative in and you have to go reach out, network, connect with the cohort that's not in your generation. Get connected with other Pepperdine people who aren't in the MBA program. That stuff, it's on you. And I feel like someone like Ty is like a cornerstone of, people who can do that. And if we can all learn from him, that would be awesome.
Yeah, Ty is definitely someone who connects people with other folks as well. And what you said, Key, is so true. Everything's here, but they're not going to show you necessarily how to get there. The whole you can lead a horse to water, you can't make them drink. So everything's out here. Dell and I, we all often talk about, okay, so if we want to do a study group, well, then put it together, right?
Yeah.
It's not going to be like someone directly telling you. And I guess that could be when they say, what's the difference between undergrad and grad? Undergrad was very much like, I'm going to steer you directly to this. And grad school at Pepperdine is, we have all these resources. Now go get it. Yeah. In whatever way you feel you're going to go about that. But it's here. Now go get it. And that buffet analogy was spot on.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Like the stream room, for example, I was talking about how there's this awesome space that's going to be created for the esports program, and that could potentially be a future recording spot for us. How would we learn about it? We wouldn't. Just so happened to be involved with these sports. So that's how I was able to find out. And, they're not going to create the WhatsApp groups, the study groups, the extracurricular sources. It's got to come from us. So I feel like a big part of the MBA is putting in your own initiative. And speaking of which, have you guys ever interacted with students outside of class? Have you ever gone out with your fellow classmates? Have you ever, seen them walking around? And what is that like compared to in-class interactions?
Kia, that's a great question. We have, but I think what's really important is I feed off people's energy. I don't necessarily need it, but as I've known Julie for the past 4 weeks, I noticed that anytime we go out, she reaches out to everyone. So that's a good quality trait to have. Outside of our cohort, we are trying to reach out to other individuals in other graduate programs too. So, but I think the biggest thing is energy and feeding off someone's energy. For our class, our mission statement that we developed was leave people and the place better than you found them. So I think that's a really deep, super deep, mission statement that we have. So every day is a work in progress, but I think we're going the right direction.
That mission statement right now, I'm smiling. Obviously, you guys wouldn't know that since we're it's just our voice, but I love that mission statement. I think it's so important. And then the other thing too is if you're someone who is more introverted, more of like an introverted student, whatever way you can go about still networking, because I think oftentimes Dell and I being introverts or extroverts, and Kia, you seem to be extroverted too.
I could do a little bit of both.
You could do both. Sometimes it's like, hey, try to participate more, but then you got to think of if they're comfortable with that. So just know that first year, second years, grad people outside of the MBA program, you're always welcome. You see us, say hello, or anybody else. Just if you can stomach it, try to also get involved.
Yeah, ditto for us for sure. But the feeding off of other people's energy is how I feel. And it's how most of the people in the cohort feel. I don't know anyone I would say no to if they said, hey, can I hang out with you? So really just go sit down at a table when you see peers, people you recognize but don't know yet. They will be inviting. We're all here for the same thing, and they'll be happy to have a chat with you. And that's really great. What were you going to say?
Yeah, Kia, I was going to say, the idea of looking forward, but also stepping backwards is important. Julie had mentioned it. So what you did not do right, in your opinion, in undergrad, you should make sure that you do better in graduate school. So and that can go into too many different vines and strings. So if you were introvert in undergrad, be extrovert now. If you were not into clubs, be into clubs. If you were not in a leadership position, take that step. So that's super important, to be uncomfortable but still be comfortable.
I'll step in here. Dale, it's interesting you say that because in undergrad at Michigan State, I wasn't shy. I wasn't necessarily the most outgoing. I was on the football team, hung with the guys, and when you're on the football, you're not going to be as real shy. But I wasn't the super outgoing. But when I moved to Texas to get my first master's degree, the first day I was like, so you're down here and don't know anybody. You're either going to be a hermit, live by yourself for these 2 years, and then graduate and not know anybody, or you're going to change your whole mindset and just go in and make it happen. So then I just turned into this greetings guy, right? I say greetings all the time. So we're starting in Texas. I just became a little more outgoing, which it was probably already a part of my personality, but I just went in.
What I love about what Ty just mentioned is, so even though you're using the word greeting, now you branded yourself. So that's a brand right there. And other people can feed off that. So I might start saying greeting. It's not copying you, but it's almost in the sense that I respect what you're doing with your brand.
It's so pleasant. He sent me a message, Ty did, and he said greetings. And I literally wrote back to him. I'm like, oh, that's lovely. Greetings. So yeah, that's branding right there. That's awesome.
Yeah, my father had a saying when I was young. He said, everybody deserves a hello and a smile, right? I just turned the hello to a greetings instead of hello. So it is what it is. After that, I don't owe you anything. But I'll say greetings to you and keep it moving, right?
And they said something interesting. Their class has a mission statement.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we didn't have anything like
No, we
that.
didn't have
So
nowhere near
is
this.
that an orientation thing or?
It was for the workshop, the 3-day workshop. We had just break it up into different groups and come up with something to hold ourselves accountable. I think in this day and age, accountability is huge. So and it's good because you have to find strengths and weaknesses within yourself and the cohort, and then not look at yourself, but try to grab other people and bring them along because it will pay itself forward.
Yeah, and the self-improvement message, essentially, which is your mission statement, if I'm watering it down, let me know. That is something that resonates with a lot of people. I mean, we're all going to grad school to better ourselves in one way or another, whether it's seeking out a better job, whether it's furthering our skill set, making more connections in one way or another that's bettering ourselves. And Ty carries that message, and so do you too. And it's really cool. I'm kind of jealous. I might make my class do a mission statement or something.
Yeah, so when he said during the workshop, we're talking about the 3 day before school starts. So I don't know if during COVID, if you guys literally had a real one since it was all Zoom, but our teacher, Professor Jacqueline, she had us break up into groups, and that's when we each came up with a mission statement. So, but it was for the entire cohort. Then we all agreed on that mission statement to leave Pepperdine and your cohort better than when you started.
Yeah, that's what me and Kia are trying to do with the podcast here. I wonder, Ken, you may have asked this. I joined late. I apologize for anybody who's listening, but have you guys figured out ways to execute that mission statement now that we're 2 through a month or a month and a half in, right? Have you already seen things that you've done and your cohort
Absolutely.
has done
So I'll
that helps
quickly
you
touch on
execute
it
that?
because I know Dell will be able to probably express it better. We just got back from the National Black MBA. This year it took place in Chicago. It was in person. And because it was canceled last year, it was phenomenal and a very nice turnout. It was a total of 5 of us going that we were aware of. We met like 4 days before the conference and went over strategy. When I tell you we looked at each other's resumes, we did the elevator pitch with each other. We went over what dry cleaning, what are you going to wear, that type of thing. So we very much try to practice that mission statement, not just say it, because the whole thing was everyone looks better together. It's like that whole, if you have a weak link, you bring everybody down, right? So if you're trying to make sure everyone's strong. So yeah, we practiced it for sure.
Right. So National Black. You
Tell us
guys
more
went,
about that.
right. Tell us a little bit about representing Pepperdine at the National Black MBA Association. I mean, come on. Did you guys go in strong? Do they remember who we are? Are they looking forward to us coming back? What we do? Talk to us.
Absolutely. And I think we fed off what we talked about brand. So the 4 of us that went there, like Julie had alluded to, we prepped. But with prepping for any event, a lot of that also goes out the window upon arrival. So we all had our own strategy, but it was a team effort. So what we learned at that conference, I'm light years ahead. Networking, how to speak to these recruiters, how to present your resume, future internships, how to not put all your eggs in one basket. But above all of this, the information that we received, I think all of us that went to a conference want to bring that knowledge back to our cohort, right? It's not about keeping it close to your heart. It's about passing it along. So we're always happy to share with anyone in the cohort if they want to discuss it. And we're prepared to go next year. And next year's event is in Atlanta. So
Oh man,
it's going to be good.
National Black MBA in Atlanta?
Absolutely. And to go off what you asked, Ty, so how did Pepperdine look after you guys went to National Black? You know you represented your school well when you're going up to the next company and they say, oh my gosh, I just saw Michael. He goes to Pepperdine. He was excellent. And so you would go to a company that one of your cohort already went to, right? Like came up, introduced themselves, handed out their resume, said what they're interested in. And the recruiter was so excited from seeing someone else from Pepperdine, it sets you up when now you're speaking with them. So we had a lot of that occurred in Chicago.
I just want to give us a quick shout out to the career development team,
Yes.
John and Karen. So prior to us going, we had a good discussion on how to present yourself. So that definitely helped us.
Yeah, they look out for us. John and Karen, they're cool people. And by the way, people, I said it was 5 of us because Dell has an amazing friend, Irv, and we have somewhat adopted him. But he goes to UC Irvine.
That's correct, Julie. So Irv goes to UC Irvine, and the whole point of, I've known Irv since undergrad, but the whole point of meeting him and his cohort is so we can bridge that gap.
That Southern California.
Now we know the 4 schools out here, top 4 schools, us, USC, UCLA, and UCI down south. So if we can get his MBA cohort and Pepperdine's cohort to, come together, well, we can network, we can get jobs, we can do events together, and I think it makes all of us better people.
And that's my alma mater, so I'd be happy to be involved in that. And I'm curious to see, maybe I'll see some familiar faces for sure.
That's awesome. You would have, Kia, because they had a good range in ages too. They were awesome. We met like 7 or 8 of them.
Correct. I think they had about, I want to say 20.
That's it.
20 people.
20 people
They had that many. And keep in mind, their school hasn't started yet. They've only done orientation. So they were a little less stressed. They haven't started classes
yet. They weren't at night logged onto the computers trying to figure out finance. Right?
Correct, Ty.
Talk to us a little bit about one more question about National Black, and we'll move on. But a little bit about the strategy you guys came up with, and what are some highlights from that strategy, and were you able to execute the goals that you set for that strategy?
So I'll start. The number one thing we did when we sat down and went over strategy, we said, what companies do you have listed on your list? And we compared to see, out of the people coming from Pepperdine, if we had similar companies. Because again, the whole thing would be, if Kia's going up to American Airlines, and I'm also interested in American Airlines, you would literally set the path. So you would go up to that recruiter from American Airlines and then say, oh, I'm interested in finance. However, Julie, her background is human resources. So they're thinking, great, I'm going to take your resume because you're finance, Julie's more HR. And so we definitely wanted to make sure whatever companies we had, that we did our energies together on that. So that was one of the strategies we used.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with Julie. Another point, I think, for the listeners out there is it's a fear in what you're doing. So I'm coming from a completely different industry, come from the military government side. I don't know any of this. I don't know how to speak to a recruiter. So talking with Michael, one of the members in our cohort, he's done this before. So he's able to calm my nerves, and I'm sure the rest of the team's nerves. But another strategy we had, so while we're there, besides our cohort, we also made friends with other students. So, for example, Jacob from University of Utah was a consultant for EY. So he and me knocked it out of the park. I added him on LinkedIn. Later on, during one day, I saw Aurora, one of our classmates, and she wants to go into consulting. So they were able to link up, and he's like, reach out to me anytime and I'll walk you through the process. So we definitely, like Julie mentioned, we definitely put Pepperdine on the map, but we also make sure to network with people who are outside the LA region.
We're definitely going to start sounding like beating a dead horse about all this networking stuff throughout all the different podcasts, but that's why we keep repeating it. It's the cornerstone of having a good MBA experience. So props for you guys for putting out the good word for Pepperdine. And Atlanta next year, I'm sure you'll do great there as well.
Hopefully more people from Pepperdine will come, just because it was an amazing experience. So we'll see how it goes. Yeah, Atlanta's going to be exciting.
Yeah,
so that'll
Atlanta
be awesome.
might be a little too wild from... I might be there because I'm a member of National Black. I actually joined at one of the higher memberships, but Atlanta sounds crazy, actually. But obviously, Kia and I are second years and trying to figure out this second year thing, mapping our path to where we want to go. Kia is a little more specific on his plan, whereas I'm up in the air. Let's figure it out wherever the universe takes me. But you guys come in as first years. Julie, I know you're a little more focused in terms of HR. Dale might be a little bit like me, right? A little better background when you talk about military, though, right? There's a little better focus in terms of organized. But talk to us about your expectations for wrapping up the first year. I know we're only like in the first month, but wrapping up the first year and going into second year. What do you hope to have accomplished after your first year when you're in a position like Kia and I are in your second year of the MBA?
That's a great question, Ty. I think a lot of it is I use my military background to help me in any part of my life. So I think you have to follow before you can lead. And we all lead every day. So the second year are our backbone. We have to lean more towards you guys. So even though we're only in the first month, there's still time, not too much time, to really lean from you guys. I think in doing this, we can discuss with you guys what internships you guys did, how to make our resumes better, what other conferences you guys attended, what leadership roles and what clubs did you find important and have value, right? Not just it was a waste of time. And no club's a waste of time, but some clubs don't add value to you. So I think a lot of it is just reaching out to the second year. It's almost like a pendulum shift and swing, but a lot of it, like Julie had mentioned before, is you have to take the initiative and reach out to the second year.
So expectations wise, I can say that I've always been more of like a very studious person. So my expectation really is to not only do all the studying, but also the clubs and everything else, because that's also a way that you're able to network with people outside of your direct cohort. So that's one of my expectations. The other thing too is I'm on the 15-month program. So when deciding things like internships or a part-time internship, my expectation is by March, April of 2022 to really have 2 or 3 companies that I'm very much focused on as far as full-time employment. So then when December graduation comes around, I would have already had that taken care of. So that may sound ambitious, but March, April, I would like to know where I'm going to work when December comes around. And then too, it takes some of the pressure off of you, right? Because like, okay, I have the summer session, then I have the fall
Then I can go.
graduation. Yeah.
So that's interesting. So why did you choose 15 months? To get in and get out, or?
I did. So my whole thing is that I've studied abroad and I've done internships when I was undergrad at Penn State. And internship is very valuable. I think it's more so when people don't already have a lot of work experience because you want to see how it goes, or obviously if your program requires it. But with me studying abroad and living in Madrid and then having all my internships, I didn't want to necessarily have to have one that is mandatory. And then also 15 months, I'm ready to hit it.
Get in and get out, right?
Yeah.
Interesting. I'll ask you a couple questions here before we wrap. One is, like me, you guys are Black on campus, right? Or like Kia, right? Person of color, we're here on campus. I don't know how diverse general campus, undergrad, Pepperdine, or the whole student body here at Pepperdine is. Gratsadil is working on it. And when I say diverse, if you're a Black person and you walk in the room and they say it's diverse, but there's no Black people there, we're like, okay, how diverse is it really? Or do we count in your definition of diversity? So Pepperdine's still working on that, right? And I'm happy to see you guys here. Happy to guys see you care about that aspect of your graduate, your MBA experience. Talk to me, Julie, you're real active in it. And I know, Dale, we've had a lot of conversation about it. I try my best to do what I can, right? At least to be visible so people see that we're here and we are welcome to other people joining us. And Key, if you have any thoughts too in terms of the Persian background or just anything, just people of color here on campus and why that's important actually for an educational experience.
Oh, well, it absolutely is so important because the whole thing is when you get out into the so-called real world, you're going to see people of color. Furthermore, post George Floyd, if these companies are to be believed, they want to see more African Americans specifically in the C-suite and as general managers and as higher up executives. So when you go to a predominantly white school like Pepperdine, like I went to at Penn State University, it's so important for not only for me to see like another Black person on campus or a Persian person on campus. It's really important for white students to see us too. Because the whole thing is if you're coming from a background where it was just everyone looked like you, especially post George Floyd, they're going to see us everywhere.
Yeah. If I want to be soft, I would say that it's about uplifting the voices of people who need to be uplifted. And instead of having performative activism, you're putting your money where your mouth is. And if I want to be harsh, it's about dismantling institutional racism.
Right.
There you go.
Excellent.
Yeah. I think it comes down to 2 aspects. Aspect number 1, highly effective teams are better when they're diverse, when they have a vast array of knowledge, right? If everyone looks like you, talks like you, and walks like you, that's not really efficient. Second part is I think we're paving the way for others behind us, right? So the small things that we do, we don't really consider it that massive, but other people in the undergraduate programs or who are interested in applying can look and say, hey, there's Julie, hey, there's Kia, hey, there's Ty leading this group. Perhaps I can also go there and follow in their footsteps.
Then the other thing really quick, just on like a more of a social level, I mean, when you're fly and all your cultures fly and people want to emulate that, then another good thing of making sure that you have people of color who come in as grad students is so much culture too that people like to learn from us as well. And of course, the Persian community too, Kia, you already know. So that's another aspect of it, the social aspect as well.
Just want to put one plug out there. I think that's really good what Julius mentioned, the word culture. And perhaps as a different podcast conversation, but culture, culture is strong. And it ties back to the conference we just attended. It ties back to our cohort, ties back to this school, ties back. Culture is huge. And if you're not stepping outside of your comfort zone, and we know a lot of individuals at this institution have never had a Persian friend, a Black friend, and it's okay. We're here. So please don't be afraid to approach us, and we will approach you.
Right. Excellent conversation. Yeah. Kev, you got anything?
No, I'm good, man.
All right, good. This has been an excellent conversation. I really appreciate you guys joining us on the Pepper Dynamics podcast.
Thank you for having us. The two of you together, I love y'all chemistry. Y'all literally, like, you work very well together. I like it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Julie. We try.
Kia, Ty, thank you. Ty, I've been watching you since you started this podcast back in January 2020. So, So I think with, what's it?
Kayla was first.
Exactly. Yep. So keep doing what you're doing.
Excellent.
You've got fans.
All right, well, we appreciate you joining us. That was Dela Atsu-Swanzy. He is a first-year MBA student here at Pepperdine, and Julie Awopetu. Julie is also a first-year MBA student here at Pepperdine. And for Kia June, I am Ty Brown, and we really appreciate you guys joining us on the Pepper Dynamics podcast. Kia.
See you on the next one.
See you on the next one. And keep in mind, the role of a leader is to create and maintain an environment that people want to be a part of. And as always, be better tomorrow than you are today.